Hey, welcome back, Honors American History 1 students, for yet another week of digital learning. So this week is going to be our last week in April. I can't believe Friday is May the 1st. It's going by pretty quickly. So I'm sure you guys have heard that the governor has decided just to keep school closed to the end of the year. And so as a result of that, we're just going to keep doing what we've been doing. And you guys have been doing great. Those of you that have been submitting work, I've been trying to give you guys some feedback. And I've been happy with what I've been seeing. Just keep it up. I know sometimes it's a struggle, so let me give you take a second to give you a pep talk about keeping it up. So sometimes you can kind of stall and procrastinate, but don't put it off. Go ahead and spread out your work so you can get it done. Remember, for us, I try to give you somewhere between 2, definitely no more than 3 hours of work per week. And that work is based on our A-Day, B-Day calendar. So we are A-Day. So right here we basically have 2 days this week. So I'm going to try to give you about an hour per class day. You don't have to do it on Tuesday and Thursday. You could do a little bit every day of the week up until Friday at 3 o'clock, or you could get it all done in one sitting. It's totally up to you. It is self-paced. So we're going to continue our study of the Civil War, causes of the Civil War. And I'm going to do a review activity next week for the past 2 weeks. So what we've been talking about with expansion as a manifest destiny, we've talked about the compromise of 1850. And so a lot of these things we're going to cover in a review next week, just to bring all of this stuff back together, because there's honestly a lot of causes of the Civil War. We see them compound on one another. And so we're going to cover a lot of those this week as well. You'll notice that all tasks are due by Friday, May the 1st at 3 o'clock, and this week instead of 4 assignments, there's 5. But except for one of them, they're actually pretty short. I do have your Google link here, your Google Doc, so you can keep up with the checklist if it's going to be counted in terms of what you're doing for the quarter. So you'll see those 5 assignments are listed there, and it tells you how to go about submitting them. They're all into Canvas this week. One of them you're going to be doing a reading guide, and you submit that reading guide directly to Canvas, and then the rest of them are going to be text box entries. So the first thing I would like for you guys to do is to watch this video. That's task 1. And then also looking at our expectations. I wanted to pull that up really quickly again, because not only is it 4th quarter expectations, but it's also quality work expectations. And I wanted to cover a few things. So again, quarter 4 expectations have not changed. And so, we're asking you to be flexible, to check Canvas frequently. I also try to send out remind messages. You can communicate with me through my email, through Remind, and through Canvas. Assignments have to be submitted in Canvas, and they have to be there at the due date. Maintain positive etiquette, in other words, respectful online. Academic integrity is pretty important, of course, and then ask for help if you need that. I want to also take a second to talk about how to really fulfill some of these netiquette issues and some other help that our school has asked teachers to get students to do. So that was a really wordy way of saying go to the Concord High School website, and if you will scroll down to, I'm trying to look for it right here, the bus ridership survey. Make sure you're doing that, because we need you guys to be sure that you have transportation for whatever happens next year. And then also the virtual classroom behavior agreement form. So I'm not planning on using Microsoft Teams unless you guys really want to do that. But and please let me know, email me, or put that in our discussion if you would like to do a Teams meeting. But if you're doing Teams meeting, you just need to do this one time. You need to watch the video here, and then of course you got to follow the conduct. They fill out this form, and of course follow the conduct that's required for online meetings, like team meetings. But as for us, I don't have any of those scheduled. We are just mainly going to do online discussions throughout the year through Canvas. So let's talk about quality work. And I want to make sure that we understand what quality submissions are as we go through quarter 4 and end out the year. And so right here it is, submitted on the right platform. So Canvas, not email, that's quality submissions. So I still want you to, if you still want to do the work, please send me that through email. Several of you have already done that and said, hey, look, Ms. Rick, I didn't make the cutoff time, but here it is. And so I don't want to discourage you from doing that. What I'm trying to be able to do is be able to grade about 210 students' assignments, or however many of them turn it in, weekly, and then use that to form reviews for the following weeks. So quality work is submitted on the right platform and in the time period assigned. So that means I'm trying to set up work done by the end of the week by 3 p.m. And I'll be honest again, if you guys are having trouble meeting that and you think it might be helpful to say, give you a weekend to do that. I don't really want you to work over the weekend because it's supposed to be like class time, not extra homework. But if that's something that you think would be beneficial to you, send me an email, put it in the discussion, and we'll open that and negotiate that as a discussion with our class. Complete assignments, all answers very thoroughly, thoughtfully, totally complete, so all questions need to be answered. Also, make sure that assignments are your own work. So all parts of the questions have to be answered, and it has to be your own work. So not copied and pasted from digital sources. And a couple of times I'll ask you for quotes, but that's the only time where, if it's allowed, if you could do quotes. But otherwise, don't copy and paste from other sources or from, of course, other students. You guys have been doing great about doing your own work so far. And if you have assignment questions, I'm sitting around from 8 to 2 during the day waiting for that email notification to ding. So please send me an email if you have questions about those assignments. So again, for now, that's what we have for quality work. Now this may change as we continue on and get new guidance from our school system, but that's where we're at so far. Keep in mind that this quality work is not graded with a numeric grade. You just get a completed check in Power School, and you'll notice that those grades are coming out in Power School. I'm going to try to do those weekly. But if you have any questions about that, don't hesitate to ask. Okay, so real quick, after you finish watching this video, you can, of course, don't forget Join Remind, and you have an optional discussion post for this week if you have any questions. Like I just said, if you feel that maybe having the weekend to do that, or maybe even Friday at 11:59 p.m. To do those things, just let's open that up for discussion. Again, I don't want to extend our work too far into the future because I want you guys to kind of set your own time table for getting it done and managing your own time, but I want to make sure that there's enough time for you to get all of your work done. Some of you have 8 classes or 6 classes or a whole bunch of classes. So let's take a look at the tasks for this week for the actual assignments. So the reading guide is going to take you the longest, no doubt. So the reading guide is a Google Doc, and I'll show that to you right quick. So this is the assignment. You're going to use the textbook link and you're going to answer the questions. It covers a lot of very specific causes of the Civil War. Fugitive Slave Act, the Underground Railroad, Uncle Tom's Cabin. There's a whole bunch of stuff happening in Kansas and Nebraska. Popular Sovereignty, the Kansas-Nebraska Act, Bleeding Kansas, John Brown, the Sack of Lawrence, Potawatomi Massacre, the Caning of Charles Sumner, and some of those will go into detail a little bit more next week. This week we're going to mainly focus on the Underground Railroad and the Fugitive Slave Act with our assignment. So that's our typical assignment. Should take you about 30 to 45 minutes to submit that into Canvas. Then our next assignment, actually the next 2 are source readings with 3 questions each. So what you're going to do is you're going to either pull up the PDF or you can read along with me. So here's the primary source reading for the first one, Levi Coffin and the Underground Railroad. He was a conductor on the Underground Railroad. What you're going to do is you're going to pull up this PDF here, or you can follow along with me and you'll see the discussion questions, and I'll pull up the PDF. So here that is, the Underground Railroad, and you're going to answer those 3 discussion questions. It took me about 5 minutes to read. So if you read along with me and you answer those 3 questions, it shouldn't take you more than 15 minutes to do that. So again, a lot of these assignments are going to be smaller assignments this week, but are going to encompass all of the things that we've been talking about in that guided reading on the Underground Railroad. Then the next assignment is going to be the Harriet Tubman assignment. And same thing's going to happen. You're going to have this PDF here. It's got 3 questions. And then I read that to you as well here, so you could take a look at that. There's 3 questions at the bottom. You put those in a text box entry. So once you're finished with those 2 source readings that are just 3 questions, I couldn't resist. I wanted to do a virtual field trip. So if you'll click on this link here, it takes you to the Google Earth field trip. Now either, this is the one that I did with you guys, so it's about, I don't know, 15 minutes maybe, something like that. And then I've got 3 questions here at the bottom that I want you to answer, and yet another Canvas text box right here. Pretty simple. And if you would rather do the tour yourself, you could click on the Google Earth link, and so Google Earth will start up and you could actually do the trip yourself. That way you could click on the links at your own pace. And so the Underground Railroad virtual tour will start here, and you can click Start Exploring, and you could start that on your own. Then going back to the page, you'll see that our last assignment is a reading excerpt from Uncle Tom's Cabin, and there's just one question. So again, it'll take you about 15 minutes, maybe 20, because it took me somewhere around, I don't know, 10 to 15 minutes to read the excerpt. It was a 3-page excerpt, so right here's the PDF. You could pull it up and you could read it at your own pace, or I read it to you here. Whichever way you want to do it is fine. Regardless, you're going to answer this particular question in the Canvas text box. Words can lead to war, can they? And then explain how the excerpt from Uncle Tom's Cabin that we're reading could fuel the fires of war. So I don't want you to feel overwhelmed with 5 assignments, but I thought they were really interesting just to pick them apart with the Underground Railroad and actually dive into some things that I thought were pretty interesting when you're looking at causes of the Civil War. And we'll spend a couple of weeks on the causes of the Civil War in Chapter 10, Section 2. We'll be in that section again next week, and we'll also do some review and dive a little bit deeper into Bleeding Kansas, the caning of Charles Sumner, and John Brown. So I hope you guys are going to have a wonderful week this week and get outside and enjoy some of the lovely weather we've been having. But if you get stuck on anything, you have any questions or concerns, you know what to do. Send me an email.